Hello and welcome again to the second episode of Serial Trash Talking. I'm your host, David, and I'm joined by Rob this evening. And as always, we are here to talk about the hottest takes in sport at the moment, as well as our favorite cereals and review and try those. Tonight, we have a little bit shorter episode focusing on what is going on in the NFL at the moment, whilst enjoying a bowl of honey-made s'mores. As a reminder, we're just two fun-loving accountants who love cereal, who love sport, and we love numbers. So tonight we're going to be getting deep into those numbers with some interesting stats, along with some hot takes. So, Rob.
Thanks, DA. It's great to be back. Thanks to the fans who have come out and commented, and provided that feedback, or after that feedback for whatever you want to see, cereals you want to eat, and comments you want to take. There's going to be three topics that we're going to hit tonight. Our first topic we're going to talk about, because these are it's hot news that's happening at the moment, is the Goff Stafford trade. Like DA said, diving into the detail. Two, it's going to be, where's Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees going to end up next year? Are they going to go around again? Are they going to change teams? And three is Deshaun Watson. Now, as much as we want to get into the Super Bowl and that analytics, it's just going to have to wait, because this is taking up all our time at the moment. Before I get your take on that, DA, we've got s'mores on the cards, and it's your fault that I'm deep into them now. You've got me introduced. The big question out there, and that has been that we have received feedback, is cereal a dessert? I want to hear your answer by the end of this segment, by this episode. First things first, though, we need to talk business. Goff and Stafford, what have you got for me?
Well, I think to me the big question stands out is, wouldn't you rather be in LA than in Detroit?
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth?
I think Stafford's still the big winner for me. Detroit's still the big winner. And I think there's been some interesting commentary coming out about Stafford and the move, and actually the teams that were interested in him. I think as a Patriots fan, the thing that stood out to me the most was the fact that he asked not to be traded to New England. And it wasn't because he would be paired up with Bill Belichick, but it was because he would be reuniting with Matt Patricia, who, as we know, was fired this year by the Detroit Lions after, I believe it was 4 pretty abysmal seasons there. So, I mean, there are some interesting stats on Stafford. His 11 seasons in the league, he's thrown for 45,500 yards. He has 282 touchdowns with 144 interceptions. He's had 8 seasons of 4,000 plus yards. But his completion rate is only 62.6%. And I mean, when you compare him to Goff had a rating of 63.4% over 5 years. There's not too much difference between them. My only point would be, for a large portion of those 11 seasons, Stafford was throwing Megatron, who was just an absolute giant. Whereas I don't think Goff's had that level of talent to throw to. He's obviously going to a team that is a little bit depleted. I mean, your star wide receiver there, well, I mean, your most experienced receiver there, put it that way, is Danny Amendola, who we all know can turn up clutch, but he's also made of glass.
You're not wrong there. I know you had plenty of experience of him in the Pats. So.
But, I think, Stafford's 18th all time in passing yards in the NFL. And I think he's going to do great. The person who has the most to lose in this trade, I think, is Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay's been great. They've had winning seasons since he joined LA. But I think Stan Kroenke is someone who doesn't want mediocre. He wants success. And he's obviously indicated that he wants success now. If the Rams don't make the NFC Championship this year, Sean McVay's gone.
Wow, that's a hot take, all right? It's a hot take. Well, mate, that's huge news, right? That's huge news at the end of the day, because Sean McVay has been in the league 4 winning seasons. He had winning seasons with Washington as well. He's got a winning percentage of 66%.
Yeah,
and he's the young gun. One thing and a different angle I just want to take on that, because totally disagree with you, but I don't think he'll be fired because there's just no one else who has, provided such exceptional service so far. But I don't think it's going to be the case. The only other angle I want to add for this is from a player's perspective. If I'm Aaron Donald and if I'm Jalen Ramsey, what Sean McVay and what Stan Kroenke are doing to lay their cards on the table to get me all the help I can get so that I could get a Super Bowl. I must feel pretty good if I'm Aaron Donald. So hopefully he keeps that locker room together, Sean McVay, with these moves.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Like, I mean, it's got to be boosting, like the morale has to be pretty high. But I think the impact that a move like this has, it puts the team under so much pressure. How often do we see teams with this much pressure actually succeeding? Like, I think the only time you could probably say it was the last time a team was under this much pressure and they came and won was probably the Pats after Deflategate, which was a crock anyway. Everyone knows that it was a crock.
Mate, we need to have a whole another episode for that take, mate. No need to air your dirty laundry out here.
No, I'm intrigued. And I'll just say the last point. So I think this whole Goff thing, because it's kind of turned on a head, right? Like he came into the league, everyone was pretty hot on him after he led the Rams to the Super Bowl.
Number one pick, right?
But I mean, their red zone conversion rate hasn't really changed that much. I mean, in 2018, when they went to the Super Bowl, it was 56%. Last year, it was 64%. This year, back down to 57%. However, that 57% conversion rate ranked 19th in the league, whereas Detroit was 9th. So you could say, for instance, that either Detroit was a better finisher or they were more experienced at actually getting the touchdowns or converting. I think it's just great that Stafford, someone who's been in the league for so long, is now in a position to win. But I'm intrigued. I mean, Detroit has nothing to lose with this trade. And they don't see Goff as a bit part player. They want him involved. They want him involved in the team. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes of it.
This is a wait and see, watch and see kind of space.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I think it comes back to how you started, mate. What would you choose, LA or Detroit?
That's
no
right.
one wants to be in Detroit, mate.
Just a reminder, thank you to Yeti Mugs. Great product. Keeps drinks hot or cold for up to 4 hours. Brilliant product. So, Rob, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, both at a little bit of a crossroads in their careers. We've heard speculation that Aaron Rodgers is going to be moving on from Green Bay, perhaps, and whether this was the final go-around for Drew Brees. What's your take on that situation that's unfolding there?
I like to do these two, all due respect. We'll hit the numbers hard on these guys, right? Now we're going to start with Aaron Rodgers. He's just come off an MVP season. But to break that down further, the last 9 seasons he's been throwing for over 4K, 4,000 yards. He's thrown together, and that's over 2 coaches as well, Mike McCarthy, Matt LaFleur. In the 2010-2008 seasons, he's only thrown 10 or more intercepts in 2 of those seasons.
Yeah.
You compare someone like that, I don't want to even put his name in here, but Jameis Winston threw 30 last season. So this isn't even comparable. And I'm sorry to Rodgers for even bringing his name up in this conversation. So that's a terrible disrespect.
It's 412 touchdowns to 89 interceptions for Rodgers. I mean, yeah.
I thought that was written down wrong on Pro Football Reference. Surely that's wrong because we had just gone over Matthew Stafford and we thought, that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
But now we're looking at proper numbers. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
So what are we saying there, DA? He doesn't give the ball away. Is that right?
Yeah, or he's definitely one of the most talented quarterbacks that I've ever seen. I mean, Stephen A would call him a bad man.
That's a bad man right there. Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, he deserves that title. I'd like to see him win another Super Bowl. I'd like to see him win another Super Bowl at Green Bay, but I mean, who knows? So do you think he's staying or do you think he's moving?
I think he's staying, mate. I think he's going nowhere. I don't think he wants to let that city or that town down. And I think he wants to win another one there. Besides, I think there's some logistical issues as well with his contract and where he could actually move to.
Yeah.
So I think it's all chat from him. And I'm going to liken it back to what McVay and Gronky are doing for Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. They're laying the whole franchise on the line, to try and make moves to, win them a Super Bowl. Yeah. Green Bay have to do the same for Aaron. 100%. If they do that for Aaron, they get him his mates, they get him his friends that he wants to play with, and lay it all on the line. He isn't going anywhere.
No, I agree.
And if you wanted him to go somewhere, where do you want him to go, mate?
Where do I think he should go? Is that what you're asking me? I think Rodgers should probably go to the Saints.
Wow.
That's where I think Taysom Hill, I don't think is going to be the quarterback for that team. Jameis Winston turns the ball over too much. And you're going to answer right now. Is Drew Brees coming back for another season? Could he come back for another season?
I think he could, but he's not going to.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
As much as he means, his stats are unbelievable. Most yards ever. He's the best. I heard the best line about him was he's the best. Was he the best free agent pickup in history, or the best trade? Yeah, he was the best free agent pickup. From the Chargers let him go because his shoulder, he'd blown his shoulder.
Yeah, that's right.
Saints picked him up, and he's meant more to New Orleans and that city and that program than anybody would ever mean to anybody to any other organization. He's special. He's special. Happy for him to hang it up, and then he's done.
100%. Just on Drew Brees, 80,000 yards, 571 touchdowns, 243 interceptions in 20 years. The final topic of tonight's episode, Rob, is Deshaun Watson. Where do you see him ending up? Are there any likely landing spots for him? And what do you think the best options for him are right now?
Yeah, cheers, DA. And like we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, there's plenty of other news going on, but this is the main story. And without Goff and Stafford, it's all about what Deshaun Watson needs to do. He's clearly coming off. He's clearly got pretty good numbers. He's a proven starter for the Texans in that organization, completing at least 68% of his passes, a touchdown to intercept ratio of at least, 2.5, 3. He's been proven, to perform and pressured situations, working with the quality he has. Obviously it helped to Hopkins in his last couple of seasons, and to not have him this year, it's clearly shown through. But that doesn't mean that he isn't bored out as well. He's still got his yardage. He still had a huge yardage year. He's still been ranked in the top 10, of quarterbacks for the league. So his value is sky high. So if the question is, who would be after him? Probably about 25 teams in the league. Yeah. If your name isn't Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, so then who could get him? The names that people are chucking around. And I don't think it comes as too much surprise as, the Jets rebuilding. They've got Darnold. You can probably trade him. They've got plenty of picks. People are always worried about the picks that they have. But if you've got plenty of picks, plenty in the war chest, you should say, and plenty of cap space, then you can get someone like Deshaun. So I think those are the main obstacles that teams like the Jets, teams like the Dolphins, and possibly the 49ers can actually get over. Where does he want to go? Great question. Probably to a winning situation, because clearly something stinks in Houston. If a guy like that, a quality lad, doesn't want to stay, and people don't want him to stay,
I think it's pretty telling, right? I mean, he signed a massive contract at the beginning of the season. With the Houston's, I mean, it says a lot about Deshaun Watson and that he wants to win, and I think that's great. I'm not saying that he should stay in Houston, because I think Houston is just as dysfunctional now as a lot of other organizations. But why would you want to go to the Jets?
As new coach, new organization, and he wants to get to New York, big city.
Yeah.
And that's the big positives for him. And it's his team, it's his city. They haven't had a superstar since Joe Namath. So that's the call was set in the 70s.
Yeah.
So they haven't been relevant in 50 years. So
yeah, that's true. That's very true. And I mean, there's talk of a swap for Tua Tagovailoa at the Dolphins. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you go if you were the Dolphins? Would you? What do you think? I mean, would you
Are
try
you
and
asking
propose that
me
trade?
if I was with the Dolphins, would I straight swap Tua Tagovailoa for Deshaun Watson
Yes.
every single day of the week, plus twice on Sunday?
Okay.
To
All
a
right.
proven entity of Deshaun Watson over Tua
Yeah.
Tagovailoa, I think he's just not ready. He's just not healthy enough, and he hasn't shown enough. When Ryan Fitzmagic, outplays you every day of the week, he's not there for
Yeah,
me.
but how many? I mean, how many quarterbacks come in straight on day one and blow you away in that first season? I mean,
Often, when you're the number one quarterback, you go to a shit team, mate, or you go to a poor
yeah, but
team.
I mean, you know what? You know who's impressed me this season is Justin Herbert. He
100%.
has been incredible. I'm so glad that he's in well, not San Diego. I'm so glad that he's in Los Angeles with the Chargers there. But yeah, interesting times.
Perfect. DA, close us out on this. What's the answer? Can we have cereal for dessert?
That's cereal any time of the day, and it's always good.
Ooh, DA. Oh, you're a dream. You're an absolute dream.
So, everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode of Cereal Trash Talking. Please remember, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. If more cereal, if there's more topics, if you've got opinions, we want to hear them. As always, thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there and take care.